Well, ahoy, 7.5 and the rest of chapter 7 is all factoring. So we've done FOIL, which we have multiplied using the area model. Basically, factoring is working backwards. We've done a little factoring, but now we're going to factor when we got stuff like this. So rather than just pulling out a single monomial like we had to do for 7.4, we are going to be factoring unfoiling is what we're doing. Okay, I would not suggest copying all of this down because it's just going to be all messy and convoluted, except I would copy those examples down at the bottom. So basically what this says is when you're factoring something like x squared plus bx plus c, and b and c are just numbers, we want it to end up in this form where p and q are numbers. And remember that when you're foiling these things out, the two constants, oh boy, it's hard to point and see. Anyway, the two constants, P and Q, when you multiply them, that gives you the C value. That gives you this last, that gives you, right there, it gives you that right there. That comes from P times Q multiplied together. And then the B term, there we go, the B term here, this coefficient. Remember, when we do the area model, it comes from adding those two terms together. So that's why B ends up being, B ends up being the sum of P plus Q, and C ends up being the product of P and Q. So I suggest writing this part down and then also copying those examples on the screen. And then we'll go through how this works. All right, now that you've taken some great notes on that, let's go through an example, shall we? Yes, we shall. All right, so to factor this, we got to figure out what that would be using factors. Now this trinomial doesn't all have a common factor other than one. So we're going to try and factor it into a binomial. So we end up with our area model. Our C value is 16. So we need to think of two numbers that we can multiply to give us 16. But then those two same numbers we have to add up to get 10. So what two numbers can you multiply to 16 that add up to 10? If you said 2 and 8, you're correct. So they're going to walk us through this. You might want to jot these down in your notes. So C is a positive number, so P and Q must have the same sign. They're either both going to be positive or both be negative. Because B here is also positive, that tells us that Q and P, the two missing values, are also positive numbers. So we need factors of 16. So like 1 times 16, 2 times 8, 4 times 4. And then 2 and 8 are the ones that add up to 10. Therefore, P and Q are 2 and 8. So when you unfoil, which is factoring, you end up getting x plus 2 times x plus 8. So what we're basically doing is we're starting with the inside stuff and figuring out the Q and P values on the outside. All right, that's something good to add to your notes. I'll move myself over here so you can copy all that down. And then we're going to go to another example. So this time you got to factor this puppy out. C is positive 12. So you got to find numbers that multiply to give you 12. Here's the trick, though. They have to add up to negative 8. So see if you can factor this thing down, and then we'll go through it. Okay, let's see how you did. So jot through that. So the factors of 12, you can do 1 times 12. That doesn't add up to negative 8. Negative 1 times negative 12 also does not add up to negative 8. And then you can do negative 2 times negative 6, negative 3 times negative 4. Check it out. Negative 2 and negative 6 add up to negative 8. Therefore, our missing P and Q values are negative 2 and negative 6. So when you factor it, it's x minus 2 times x minus 6. Okay, another great example. Add your notes. And now we're going to move on to what happens when C is a negative number. So what happens if this last constant number is negative? Well, if C is negative, it means that P and Q have to have opposite signs because the only way to get a negative number when you multiply is a positive times a negative. So that's a trickier one here. Here's an example of that, this x squared minus 4x minus 5. When you factor it, you get x plus 1, x minus 5, because those 1 and negative 5 multiply to negative 5, but they add up to negative 4. So let's go through an example of that one. All right, so try to factor x squared plus 4x minus 21. So what you're doing is looking for numbers that can multiply to negative 21, but add up to positive 4. And those will be your P and Q values. Let's see how you can do with that. Good luck. Okay, so these are the different factors that you can use to get negative 21. And keep in mind, negative 21 and 1 is different than negative 1 and 21 because the sums will be different. So when you get the sums, this is the one that adds up to 4. That's what we want for the b value. Therefore, our factors are x minus 3 and x plus 7. Okay, so this might be kind of complicated, especially at first. I can show you how to do these using a reverse area model. And then there's also other little tricks to doing these, but basically that's what you'll be doing for 7.5 is factoring. All right, so hopefully you've taken some great notes. If you have any questions about it while you're working on big ideas, just let me know, and I will see you in class.